Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be back doing videos with you. I have taken the last month off from videos so that I could be focused on getting our own personal homeschool off to a strong start, as well as all of my clients and the curriculums that I'm writing for them um, supporting those families to get off to a strong start as well. I hope all of you have maybe gotten into a groove so far this year. Um, know that homeschooling looks different for every family. So if you are not in that groove yet and you're still trying to find your place in the world, that is okay. I want to start a new series today on some very common academic concerns that families who are homeschooling have, and how we can work together to support you to make the changes or to add some little things into your day here and there to support your children with these concerns. So, today, the first thing I want to talk about is reading fluency. Now, many families express concerns about reading comprehension on Facebook. I have seen it all over Facebook recently, and that is kind of what prompted this series that I'm getting ready to start, is the consistent and common concern about reading comprehension. Before you do any type of intense reading comprehension instruction, you really want to make sure that your child has reading fluency because it is such a big component of reading comprehension. So, what is reading fluency? Reading fluency is the ability to read not only accurately, but in a smooth manner and use expression. Now, by expression, this means they pause at appropriate places, commas, periods. Their voice gives a down inflection when they come to the end of the sentence. Their voice gives an upward inflection when it's a question. If you close your eyes and listen to your child read and it makes no sense to you, they probably are not reading with fluency. Reading fluency is a key component for your child to achieve comprehension. Why is that? When your child is focusing to read every single word and blend those sounds, they cannot focus on understanding what they're reading. Fluency bridges that gap from word to text to a passage as a whole. So it once a child is reading fluently, their brain is freed up because they're not giving as much energy to that decoding, so they can start thinking about the meaning in the story, the meaning behind that sentence. And so once we see fluency come into place with reading, comprehension starts to go up. Children also begin to enjoy reading more and they'll read more often because it is becoming easier to them. There are research proven ways to increase reading fluency that do not take that long and can be added into your day very quickly. Today, I'm going to go over one of those. And one that I use often, I used it when I was a public school teacher. I worked with issues with reading fluency all the time. This is a surefire, guaranteed way to improve reading fluency in your children, and that is sight word instruction. We often see the question of parents, do I use sight words? Do I use phonics? Well, in reality, you need to be teaching both. Sight words um, compromise about, they take about, there, it's about 90% of text is made from sight words. So if your child knows sight words and is a solid sight word reader, they are able to read 90% of the words in a passage, and they're only having to use phonics to decode 10%. That is very important for a child to be able to read fluently. Sight words are often those words that you cannot decode. They're words that we find over and over and over in text. So they're words that your child should be able to look, know, and say quickly. Now, how can we practice sight words? How can I teach sight words? Well, when I teach sight words, I pull from the Dolch sight word list, and I tend to use timed practices for mastery or flashcards. On my website, if you go to my website under the resources, you are going to find both of these resources for you to be able to use. Okay, so if you go to my website, you will see 3 lists that you can use for timed readings. So what you're going to do, there's about 25 words per list. For my son, we set our goal at 20 seconds per column. So he reads down through the column, I time it, I keep his record of how fast he is doing it below here. Once he is able to achieve 20 seconds 3 days in a row, then I say that he has finished that list. We usually do 2 to 3 lists or 2 to 3 columns at a time. So he'll do, 3 1 minute timed um, little timed quizzes per, I could say, every day. And then once he masters one of the columns, I move on to the next one. For my son, I was able to see improvement by using these timed, um, practices within weeks. Once a child memorizes these words, you will start to hear the fluency in their reading increasing pretty quickly. So, also on my website, I have those same lists in flashcard form, so you can print them right out, make flashcards if you would prefer to do it that way. I do not like the actual physical cards for flashcards. I lose them and they get crumpled up by the baby. So I don't use flashcards as often. I tend to sway towards the timed practices. And then, obviously, because they are sight words, your child is also going to get a lot of reinforcement when they're just reading because they're going to see these words over and over and over. So, one of the research proven methods to increase reading fluency is getting those sight words solid and fast. Um, Check out my website for some lists and resources that you can use for timed practices as well as for flashcards. And then, one other thing I wanted to show you on my website, I have attached a link to a book that I used every single year when I was a teacher to get sight words, memorized. This is the best sight word instruction book that I have ever used. It introduces 4 to 5 sight words with each lesson, and then your child would actually create a little book that uses those sight words. As you progress through the book, it adds more sight words, and the little mini books that they're creating and reading are only going to include the sight words that they've memorized so far. This is definitely a resource for a younger child. An older child is not going to like the setup of this book. It does look like something geared towards kindergarten, first, second grade. So if you have an older child that has not memorized those sight words, I would go with the timed reading and the flashcards. If you have a younger child, I personally used timed reading and I used this book for my own son as well. Check out the book. Like I said, it's probably one of the best sight word instruction books that I've ever used. I hope this tip helped you. Feel free to reach out to me, email me, give me a call if you are seeing this issue in your own child and you want more support for it. And join me tomorrow so I can share with you the second research proven strategy to increase that reading fluency, which in turn increases reading comprehension. Have a great one, y'all. I'll see you later. Bye.